Hi. So this is how I'm going to do my predictions for the coming season for the Premier League, all the way down to probably the Southern League, Premier Central. I'm going to do it either by live stream or I'm going to pre-record it. I'm probably not going to do the short videos that I did last season. So let me know in the comments below how you'd like to see these predictions done. Would you like them to be the same as this, or pre-recorded, or just go back to my shorts format? So I'm going to go from today until Sunday. So we're going to predict the opening weekend of the football season. The Championship doesn't start until the weekend of the 9th. National League North-South don't start until the week of the 9th. But we've got Leagues 1 and 2, and we've got the Carabao Cup starting this week. I think there's only one fixture, but I'm going to go through these fixtures in just a second. So just load up BBC Sport. We've got some Champions League qualifiers, second qualifying round this week. There's Red Imps are playing. I think they're a team from Gibraltar. And then we've got that random Carabao Cup preliminary round tie, because there's more English teams in Europe. The teams that play in Europe get a bye to the third round of the Carabao Cup. So it's imbalanced, the competition. So 4 teams, it's Barnet, Accrington, Oldham and Newport have to play a preliminary round game before they get to the first round. So it's Barnet against Newport is effectively when the EFL teams start their season. So it's newly promoted Barnet against Newport County, who stayed up last season. You don't want to play a newly promoted side on the opening week. I don't think Newport are going to be happy with that draw. It's the extra game for one of these teams as well. I watched Barnet twice last season, and I think they looked very good going forward. I think Newport are going to be a little bit vulnerable this season. And I think with the tie being at the Hive as well, I think Barnet will probably dominate that game. So I think Barnet will come away with a comfortable 3-0 win there. So Barnet to go through. Then we've got Conference League qualifiers. TNS of the Welsh Premier are away to a team called Differdange. They've lost the first leg 1-0. If they lose the first leg away at home, they're probably not going to get through that. And so just the one EFL game there. Moving over to Wednesday. Champions League qualifiers again. So Irish side Shelburne go to Kazakhstan, I think it is, to play Karabag. 3-0 down from the first leg. I saw a few people did vlogs from that first leg. I don't think they're going to come back into that. I think that tie is done, but I think the Irish fans are going to enjoy themselves over there. Karabag to win that, probably 3-0 again comfortably. What other British teams do we have? So Rangers go to Panathinaikos, 2-0 up from the first leg at Ibrox. It's still a really difficult place to go, going to Greece. I think Rangers will probably lose the tie, but I think they've done enough in the first leg to go through. I think Panathinaikos win 1-0, but Rangers win 2-1 on aggregate. Let's hope they get through, because it's good to see both Rangers and Celtic in the league phase of the Champions League this season. That's up to Wednesday. We're coming very close to the start of the football season now. On Thursday's fixtures yet to be decided, because it's Europa League and Conference League. The draws still need to be made. League One actually starts on Thursday. It's Friday, but it's Thursday. We've got Port Vale against Cardiff City in League One on Thursday night. That's going to be a hell of a tie. I don't think, as a team, Cardiff City, that have just come down from the Championship against newly promoted Port Vale, I don't think that's the tie you want to open the season with. I think Port Vale are going to be well up for that. And whereas I do think Cardiff City will do well this season and Port Vale will be down the bottom end of the table, I can see Vale Park rocking for that one. I think Port Vale are going to beat Cardiff. so temporarily go top of the table. So Port Vale 2, Cardiff City 1 on the opening day for me. Opening day win for Port Vale. What about Friday? Wait, hold on. I think I've got ahead of myself there. So Thursday, sorry, no, I've got ahead of myself there. Port Vale Cardiff is next week. So Thursday's fixtures, we've got some Europa Conference League and Europa League. We've got Hibernian against Midtjylland. They drew 1-1 in Denmark there. Tough tie, but if they can get a draw in Denmark, I think Hibernian probably come away with the win. I think they're probably going to go through there. And in the Conference League, St. Patrick's against Nom Calju. They won 1-0 in the first leg. I don't even know where they're from. You'd expect St. Patrick's to go through. So Friday is where League One kicks off. So I got ahead of myself. Port Vale Cardiff is the following week. We got Luton against Wimbledon on Friday. That is the start of the League One season. And again, it's the same story as before. Luton Town came down from the Championship. Wimbledon came up from League Two. It's a difficult fixture, and I think it is a bit of a derby as well. Luton are going to be really strong in League One next season, though, aren't they? I can't see. I think Wimbledon will cause some problems, but I can't see anything other than Luton Town winning 2-0 on the opening day of the season. So win for Luton. FA Cup, of course, kicks off this weekend as well. Last season, I did the full FA Cup programme. I did extra preliminary round all the way through to the FA Cup final. Stop making up names of teams. No, there really are teams with those names, and some of them I'm not even going to try and pronounce. So the FA Cup extra preliminary round, it does start for me on Friday as I'm going to the 8 o'clock kickoff. It's at Eastwood Town, but it's Belper United against Uttoxeter Town. That's the first FA Cup fixture for me on Friday. And as in terms of the league, that's all we've got on Friday. Then on Saturday, it's the big kickoff of Leagues 1 and 2. Cardiff City kick off against Peterborough United. And I think Cardiff are going to be strong, but I think early on in the season, they're probably going to struggle a little. I don't think I've got a friend who's a Peterborough United supporter. He thinks they're going to struggle. Let's say Cardiff beat Peterborough 2-0 on the opening day. That's the early kickoff. We've then got Blackpool against Stevenage, Bradford against Wickham, Burton against Mansfield, Doncaster, Exeter, Huddersfield play Leyton Orient, Lincoln play Reading, Plymouth against Barnsley, Rotherham against Port Vale, and Wigan against Northampton Town. So let's try and predict these. Blackpool against Stevenage, I'm going to say 1-1. Bradford City against Wickham, I'm going to go 1-0 to Wickham. Burton Albion against Mansfield Town. I think Burton pulled off the great escape last season, but I put Mansfield in the relegation zone in my early predictions, and I think they've made some decent signings. When I refine that prediction later on, I think I'm probably going to put Mansfield higher up in the table. Mansfield to win 1-0 away at Burton on the opening day. We've got newly promoted Doncaster against Exeter City. I thought both of these teams were going to struggle, and I think Doncaster will be towards the bottom end of League One. I think Exeter probably mid-table towards the bottom end of the mid part of the table. But Exeter I've seen in pre-season, and they look sharp. They look good. They've done well in all of their pre-season games, so I don't think I need to worry about them really. You don't want to play a newly promoted side in the early part of the season. I think that one finishes 1-1. We've then got Huddersfield against Leyton Orient. Huddersfield Town, probably going to be one of the strongest sides. Leyton Orient beaten playoff finalists last season. Huddersfield Town to win that one 2-1. We've then got Lincoln City against Reading. Tough start for Reading, who are one of the strongest sides in this league. I'm going to say Reading win that one 2-1. Plymouth Argyle against Barnsley. These are probably going to be sides that are both going to be stronger in the league. Plymouth to get off to a winning start, 2-1 against Barnsley. Rotherham v Port Vale. Vale will be well up for that one. They will be well up for that one. And I think Rotherham are going to have another poor season. Port Vale to come away with a win. Rotherham 1, Port Vale 2 on the opening day. Wigan Athletic against Northampton. I put Northampton as struggling this season, whereas I think Wigan are going to be comfortable in mid-table. So I'm going to say Wigan to beat Northampton 2-0. And then let's look at League Two. So no fixture changes time-wise on the early opening day of the season. We've got Accrington against Gillingham. Barnet play Fleetwood. Bristol Rovers play Harrogate Town. Cambridge United against Cheltenham. Chesterfield v Barrow. Colchester v Tranmere. Grimsby against Crawley. MK Dons against Oldham. Newport play Notts County. Salford against Crewe. Shrewsbury v Bromley. And Walsall against Swindon. Has anyone got any predictions? I'm going to run through these. Accrington Stanley against Gillingham. I think Accrington are going to have another struggle in League Two, whereas Gillingham, I think, are going to be strong. I think Gillingham come away with a comfortable win there. I'm going to say 3-0. Barnet against Fleetwood Town. So Barnet, if my prediction's right, will be just fresh off winning their Carabao Cup qualifier. They play Fleetwood. Again, you don't want to go to a newly promoted side on the opening day. That's what Fleetwood have got to do. I put Barnet as my champions for League Two this season. And I stand by the fact, I might not still have them as champions, but I stand by the fact that I think they're going to go for a double promotion. So Barnet to beat Fleetwood 2-1. Bristol Rovers against Harrogate Town. Bristol Rovers will beat Harrogate Town, let's say 2-0. Newly relegated Cambridge against Cheltenham. Cambridge United to win 3-1. Chesterfield against Barrow. It's going to be a decent game. Chesterfield are one of the favourites, and I think Barrow are one of the ones with an outside chance. So I'm going to say 1-1 between Chesterfield and Barrow. Colchester against Tranmere. Colchester to win 2-1. Grimsby against newly relegated Crawley. I'm going to say Crawley Town win 3-1. MK Dons against newly promoted and probably the biggest club in League Two against Oldham. MK Dons are the favourites for this division, but I think they were last season. They didn't really do a lot. Oldham Athletic won the National League playoffs. I was at that playoff final. Not sure if I agree with all of these. Which ones don't you agree with? Let me know your predictions in the comments below. MK Dons and Oldham 1-1, I think. Notts County, one of my tips to go up. They go to Newport County. Notts County to win 2-0. We've got Salford against Crewe. I'm going to say 1-1 there. Newly relegated Shrewsbury against probably the smallest club in the Football League, which is Bromley. And I think they're going to struggle this season. But I don't think Shrewsbury are going to be up to much either. So I'm going to say 0-0 on the opening day. And then two of the promotion candidates, Walsall against Swindon. 2-2 for that. And let's take us over to the final one of my predictions for today, Sunday the 3rd. We've also got the FA Cup on Saturday. And I'm at Hucknall Town again, as I was last year, where I started my FA Cup journey, with Hucknall Town losing to Bottisford Town. On Sunday, we've only got the one EFL fixture alongside a load of Irish Austrian, Belgian games. There's a lot of games in Europe as the leagues all start to kick off. There's 5 games in the FA Cup as well. I was invited over to watch Norwich Victoria. I'm unable to go to that though, unfortunately. So I think this is probably the biggest game on the opening weekend is Stockport County against Bolton Wanderers, which is 12 o'clock on Sunday. And both are going to be promotion candidates, I think. Stockport against Bolton, really tough one to predict. You've got to fancy Stockport County going up, I think, as when they're playing at home. I think Stockport to beat Bolton 2-1. Thank you, Angelina, for the super chat. That's much appreciated. Am I going to live stream predictions regularly? It depends what the response is. Really, I'm either going to live stream them, I'm going to pre-record them, or if there's not enough interest, I'll go back to my shorts, the ones I did last season with the images on screen and the prediction. So it's dead easy to put together. Didn't take a lot of effort, so I prefer to do it this way. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. How do you want me to do my predictions? Obviously, this is the first live stream that I think it's the first live stream I've ever done on this channel. So I don't expect much of a response in this one. But let's see. So I'm going to be live streaming again on Monday, as I'm going to go through the coming week's predictions for Monday to Thursday, of which I think it's just Carabao Cup. Carabao Cup, or is that the following week? Carabao Cup, some European games, and then it's the big kickoff. To be fair, I might leave it until next Friday. You should let people know beforehand when you're live streaming. Yes, I will. I will do. It was a spur of the moment this time, I think, for today. I was going to do it later on in the week, but I've got a lot of videos going out later on in the week, so I don't really want them to clash with this one. So let me know in the comments how you want me to do my predictions this week. Live stream, pre-record, or just throw out a load of shorts. Let me know. I'm going to go. So tomorrow I have my final League 2 prediction coming out. A lot of people disagreed with me on the last one, so I'm going to refine it. There's also been a lot of transfers since the last one, so look out for that. Thanks for watching.